And now, from the authorities in sports nutrition, it's the EFX Sports Show. And here's your hosts, Dr. Jeff Golini and Brian Andrews.
Well, welcome to another episode of EFX Sports Show. My name is Dr. Jeff Golini, and as always, I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Brian Andrews.
Yes, sir. Once again, I am here. And, today we're going to delve into a little bit different topic. And I think the key to this one is for people to understand how important your mindset is. And then on top of that, if you really want to be a champion and win, whether it's at life, business, your relationships, whatever it is, man, you got to have goals. You got to make a plan. And so I think this is an important thing because too many people approach their everyday life, or especially if you're going to go to the gym or you want to excel in whatever sport you play, you've got to set goals and give yourself something to achieve. Don't just go through the motions.
Goals are sometimes, we talk about, well, he's a dreamer or she's a dreamer. That's what a goal is you've got to have a long-term goal and you've got to have short-term goals. You just don't set one or you roll into something haphazard and have no goals whatsoever. I used to always say, there's two type of people. There's people who just dream about dreams, and then there's people who live them. And again, if you don't have goals and you don't have steps to achieve that goal, don't even step your foot on the field, man. You're already defeated.
Right. And again, we talk a lot about nutrition, training, diet. And my point to all this is what's kind of missing from a lot of the things. You see this. You go to your gym and you see, the same guys over and over. And then a year later, you see the same. They're doing the same. They don't really look any different. You think, man, a whole year has gone by. I mean, have you really? Why are you doing this? Just going through the motions. And then you see other guys will come in and 12 weeks later, man, they are ripped or they've hit a goal because they really had a purpose for doing what they're doing.
Yeah, so let's define a goal. A goal would be a picture or a vision or a dream of how you see your life, business, relationship, and once you reach a specific time and future. So you got to have this vision, this dream, but you got to have some time frame for it. So again, like you said, it just isn't coming in. Even with athletes, you see people that just make no improvements or they actually go downhill. They played better as a freshman than they did as a sophomore and junior.
Right. And I really like that definition of how you said what a goal was, because it's not just, the typical, hey, I want to lose 40 pounds. Okay. So let's say you've lost your 40 pounds. Then what? What is your life going to be like? How are you going to feel? What are you going to be able to do that you couldn't do when you were 40 pounds heavier? Or you want to make $1 million or have a better relationship with your wife. You got to define that so in your mind's eye, you can really see what your life is going to be like when you reach that point. Because going back to what I kind of started with, too many people, they just drift through their lives without any purpose, any sense of direction. Is it really any wonder why so many people just seem to, quote unquote, fail when it comes to what they're doing? Because they have no beginning and end point. They're not really pointing in a direction. It's just drifting.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And, it's kind of like, look at success because it does leave clues. As you said, if you want to be a champion, you want to be a winner, you want to succeed, you've got to have goals and you've got to have a way to achieve them. And don't listen to Hollywood or society, because those are misguided ideas on, what it is to be successful. Oh, if I only have wealth, I'll be happy. Guess what? No, you won't. If you're not happy now, you're not going to be happy with wealth. If I only, win the most valuable player, no, if you're not happy now, you're not going to be happy. Those are just goals. Those are things that you want to achieve to help you reach, what level you're going to. And again, this is a sports show, but, as an athlete, everything we learn should carry over into the real world. So goal setting is important as an athlete, but it's also important as a business person.
Honestly, I think it's the most essential part. You can have the greatest training plan and diet, use the EFX Sports supplements, all that kind of stuff, but you've still got to have a purpose when it's all said and done of why you're going to get from point A to point B. And it's funny, again, not to make this a political show, boy, we could have a whole day. We could go crazy on these topics, but people just have these oddball ideas of how somebody got successful. Oh, this guy took steroids, or he was a ruthless business guy and stepped on a lot of people to become successful. And it's like, well, I don't know where they get this from. And again, I think you're right. Some of it's Hollywood. You watch movies. The other thing is they say, oh, this guy is a quote unquote overnight success. But what they fail to see is all the hard work, all the blood, sweat, and tears that happened. They weren't there for the low times. In fact, I don't know if you know who the country singer is, Trace Atkins.
Oh, sure.
Mega hits. I mean, big country star. And he was quoted in an interview. I remember hearing him say one time, he goes, yeah, I'm an overnight success. I'm an overnight success after a decade of being on the honky-tonk circuit. In other words, he played all the little dive bars and little fairs and all this. In fact, he actually played in my town. I remember some people saying they saw him years ago. And I mean, this is a honky-tonk of honky-tonk type bars. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
but
sure.
They only see him now that he's quote-unquote made it.
So you got to get your mind together. Got to have a vision, first of all, whatever it is. And again, if you want to be Mr. Olympia or you want to win a Super Bowl ring, that's a great goal, but don't make that your only goal. You got to put the focus on, first of all, what's important. Hey, I like to go to Proverbs, and here's a little Bible lesson for you, 23:7. For as he thinks in his heart, his mind, so he is. So again, you got to think it, but you got to believe it. You can't just say, I'm going to be Mr. Olympia, but believe that you can't do it. A guy in the gym the other day was talking about, how he was wanting to be Mr. Olympia or something, and he got on Facebook and said a couple things, and I said, this is going to be the next Mr. Olympia, everybody. And he came back and said, no, I don't think I ever can do that. I just want to win a trophy. And I'm like, well, what happened to your goal? Look at all the great leaders and teachers and coaches. I mean, their ability is to see what you can't see. They can see your ability and help you come up with a plan to reach your goals.
That's exactly right. That's why it's really important to have great mentors and surround yourself with people who can be almost like a life coach, if you want to call it that. But even like the great coaches in the NFL or whatever sport you follow, you're right. They have this ability. They can look at somebody and they can just see the potential that's in there, like a diamond in the rough, and they just have this almost magical ability to pull that out and to make you and push you beyond where you thought you could. Like that great scene. What's that? The Christian-based movie with the football team.
Oh, yeah.
Facing the Giants.
Facing the Giants.
And he has that kid do that blind crawl with that guy laying on his back, and he didn't think he could do it, and he pushes him all the way across the field. He makes him dig so deep. He says, you're a champion. I see it in you. And that's what he proved, and then proved it to himself. Because really, here's the bottom line to all this. So many things, you're going to win or lose just by your mentality. Before you even set foot on the field, before you do anything, I mean, you've got to believe, at least have just a smidgen of confidence that you can do this. Don't defeat yourself before you even step in the game, man. Come on.
Now, we got to tell them how to set some goals, because a lot of people don't have an idea. You've never done it. First thing you got to do is you got to ask yourself, where am I now? Be honest. Don't look in the mirror and you weigh 250 pounds and you see 175 looking like, Arnold Schwarzenegger. You got to be honest with where you are, just kind of like a GPS. You got to have a current location. You got to have a starting point in order for you to be realistic on where you can go next.
Well, this is really key, and it's the most important step. You like you're saying, you've got to deal with reality. I mean, literally the brutal facts. If you're broke, what does your bank account look like? If you're injured, whatever it is, whatever you're trying to get to, you just start with where you are, because if you fool yourself, you're failing before you will take that first step. And now that you've kind of sat down and thought this through and said, where am I now? The next question is obvious. It should be, where do I want to go? Right? You talked about your GPS. You've got to put a destination in. It knows where you are, but where are you going to get to? And what is the reality you're trying to create? That's really what you're thinking about at this point. And really the key here is kind of going back to when I opened the show, you got to be very, very specific, because when you bring specificity into what your plan is, it really brings it to life. You can really start to see that vision of how things can be, like we said, when you reach that specific time frame in the future. I'm going to get to step 3 once we come back from break, because this is kind of where you really put a plan together and bring it home. So when we get back, let's pick it up right there.
EFX!
Hello, this is Dr. Jeff Golini with EFX Sports. By now, you've been in the gym and on your New Year's resolution diet for about a month, and if you're like most, it hasn't been easy. Well, here's something that could help you. Go to the store and grab a few supplements from EFX Sports. This will help keep you on the right track, and there's many products to choose from. My favorites are Crealkaline, the best creatine supplement on the market, Carbolin, to help power you through your workouts without sugar and loads of caffeine, and NF Pro Whey Protein to help muscles recover after a workout. That's a powerful trifecta, and the best part is it's made here in Billings and they're affordable. You can find all these products at Bonanza Health Foods, Lucky's, GNC, Granite, or Yellowstone Fitness. But if your favorite store doesn't carry EFX yet, I would love it if you would ask them to. For real, drug-free muscle, it's EFX Sports.
If you want to power your workouts and stay in shape like the pros do, then choose EFX Sports Supplements. Manufactured in Billings at All American Pharmaceutical, EFX Sports will keep you in tip-top shape with products such as NF Pro Whey Protein, Carbolin, Crealkaline, Freak Maker, and many more. Head into Bonanza Health Foods, Lucky's Market, Granite Fitness, or Yellowstone Fitness and try them all today. If your favorite store or gym doesn't carry EFX yet, tell them to check into it. Go to AAEFX.com to find out more. Well,
welcome back to EFX Sports Show. We're talking about goal setting, visions, having a plan to become a champion. And we were kind of talking about a GPS. And during a commercial break, I was thinking about a GPS, how we all depend on those. But what happens when we lose? What happens when we take a wrong turn? That machine goes recalculating. Hey, there's nothing wrong with recalculating. Take a step back. Orchestrate what you're going to do now to overcome that obstacle. And as you were saying, now we move into step 3. You got to ask yourself, how am I going to get there?
Right. And again, it's funny. These things sound so simplistic. But the key here is this is where you're going to develop a real plan for how you're going to get to your preferred future. It's kind of sad. People will put more time and effort and planning into a vacation or a party or what they're going to do with their friends on Saturday night than they do about their life. You only got one life to live, right? Let's make the most of it. So you've asked yourself this question: how am I going to get there? There's the secret now. You got to develop a system, which is your plan, your recipe, and then your metrics. In other words, how are you going to measure if you're moving in the right direction, right? I mean, you're driving down the street, you can see road signs, you have markers along the way that tell you, hey, I'm getting there. Now you want to make like these little micro goals. So you have these small victories along the way, and hey, I achieved just this small thing. I can do the next one and the next one. Those added together will get you to that point. And what's really happening in your mind's eye is you're building belief. It's that whole mindset thing again. That's so important.
And some of this comes real easy to people, and for others, this is something brand new. I know from a young age as an athlete, that was something that I didn't know about, but that's what came easy to me was setting goals. My first goal was I was always going to look good, because if I look good, I was going to play good. So I made sure that I looked good for the games. I set my personal goals because I couldn't be a good team player if I didn't reach my personal goals. And again, it wasn't to score the most points on the team. It was to listen to the coach. It was to pass the ball. It was to take good open shots. So again, if this isn't something that comes easy to you, we really want you to listen. And you got to realize that, if you're going to achieve your goal, you're going to have to give some things up. There's going to be a little bit of a sacrifice. Early to bed, early to rise makes you healthy, wealthy, and wise. I mean, you got to get your sleep. You got to be disciplined. You got to do what you said and no longer, have that feeling that when the commitment is gone and over that, whether you win, lose, or fail, it's done. You always got to be setting new goals in life. I don't care if you're 70 years old listening to this, you can't just stop having goals because you will cease to exist. Goals are necessary. So kind of the key point to this is this alone is what separates winners from losers, having goals.
And this is the step, and I think the whole key to your planning, goal setting, is really deciding what are you willing to give up or sacrifice to achieve whatever it is you're going to do. If you're going to lose 40 pounds, you're going to give up eating at McDonald's or some kind of pleasure. Maybe it's, a business goal, your training goal where you're going to spend an extra hour practicing your free throws or whatever. You're giving up time with your family. You're giving up time for TV and all these things. But like you said, it comes back to that magic word which people either love or hate, and that is discipline. Like you said, you feel good and excited. I'm going to do this. I just know, it's that New Year's resolution. You get into it and it's getting harder and harder and that feeling goes away. The person that can keep moving forward, even without feeling good, is the one that will be a winner, that everyone else is going to look at and go, wow, I wish I had your willpower. I wish I could do what you do, that kind of stuff. And those are the successful people you meet. And you'll see, if you trace these simple steps back, they all will have this in common.
And one warning I just want to throw out there, to parents, be very careful about trying to live through your child's eyes. It isn't good for us as parents to set our kids' goals, especially when it comes to athletics. It's okay for us to encourage them. We've got to let them make their own choices. My dad had one rule. We didn't have to do anything that we didn't want to do, but if we signed up for it, we were not allowed to quit. We had to finish out the season, the year, whatever the time frame was for that particular event. So again, too many times parents go out there and they sacrifice their kids' childhood to achieve a goal they want. Sometimes the kids don't even want to play that sport, and we make them. So again, we're talking about, us as individuals. So again, parents, be very careful with that fine line between encouragement and you running your kids' lives.
Well, like you said, because it could have the reverse effect that you were hoping to get from it, especially if you put unbelievable pressure on them to perform and reach the goals that ultimately are really, like you said, are yours and not the kids. They don't learn anything from that except to be discouraged and to be resentful.
So look here, I'm on my way. Now what? My buddy, well, he's not really my buddy, but my buddy Mike Tyson once said, everyone has a plan till they get punched in the mouth. I think Stallone said something about it isn't how hard you can punch, it's how hard you can be punched and keep coming forward.
Right. But you know what that really means, and what we're trying to get across here is, listen, I don't care how airtight your plan is, I'm going to get to this goal no matter what. Listen, you will absolutely almost 100% of the time run into some kind of problem or issue along the way, but just accept that that's the fact. I'm not being negative. I'm just being realistic here. You're going to find yourself at a party where there's drinks and food that, you're feeling tempted, or you're going to be tired, you're going to get injured. You're traveling from your hometown to see your parents in another state. You possibly could have a flat tire along the way, but that's why you also have a backup, right? I mean, know that is going to be a part of it. This is the adversity that you're going to face that you just never can plan for.
And there's nothing wrong when you have a setback to take a step back and review, what happened? Okay, I lost this game. My goal was to be undefeated. My goal was to win first place. When you lose, you either lose and quit or you lose and learn. No one ever said reaching a goal is going to be easy. And you could, if you could personally talk to, a famous actor, a famous ball player, a famous business guy, the first thing they're going to tell you is it's not easy. Too many people say, I want to start my own business because I want to work less hours. Don't start a business if you want to work less hours than you're working now, because it's going to take a lot of work in order for you just to keep those doors open. The same thing with like LeBron James. I mean, how many hours a day do you think he works out? People say, oh, geez, he's gifted and he's genetic. No, that guy puts some time in. So again, you got to be willing to take a step back, reevaluate. Don't change your goal unless you change your goal. Just reevaluate the road to get there, because this one didn't work, or maybe you just have to make some adjustments.
Well, and that's like we said about the GPS. You run into a road that's closed and it'll say rerouting, and it takes you a different path to still get you to your destination. So that's the simplistic way to say you're going to face adversity along the way, which, knowing that too, and another point that's key here is you got to surround yourself with people that are going to encourage you. You understand, whenever you step out and you're trying to be maybe not better, but you're trying to do more, I don't know, it just makes some people a little uneasy, and they want to pull you back down. And there's so much negativity in this world. The news is constantly throwing all this horrible stuff at us. So what you want to do to combat that is to diffuse it and dilute it by reading books, autobiographies of other successful people. There's so many podcasts and there's videos all over YouTube, things you can constantly fill your mind with so that you stay on task and stay focused. Some people say, well, I've got a mind. It's hard. It's tough like concrete. And I'd say, have you ever seen weeds? Little teeny weeds will grow up through a sidewalk and crack that thing. Think about that for a second. That's how negativity works. And finally, we were getting ready to close out our show here. I just want to end on this point. Don't let fear paralyze you and keep you and hold you in place from chasing your goals and your dreams. If you want to be a champion, just go for it. Don't be afraid to fail. Here's what you got to remember, especially when it comes to, like, say, losing weight or anything like that. Your time in your life, this time from today till, say, June 1st or whatever, it's going to pass no matter what. So why don't you just make the most of it? Go after your dreams. Do it now. Life is too short. The older I get, I see that every day.
So be a goal setter. That's my advice to end this show, Brian.
There you go. That's how champions are made. And on that note, everyone go out, set your goals, and be a champion.
We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Underground in the EFX studio. You've been listening to the EFX Sports Show. Find all the EFX Sports supplements and products by logging on to aaefx.com.